Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about how to reflect a golf hole problem and use either a protractor or a mirror. So this first example, you can see H, that's the hole, G, that's the golf ball, but can't hit through the wall, so we have to go down and in for our best chance at a hole-in-one. Now we talked about in class things you want to remember. Step one, you're always going to reflect the hole, not the ball. Another thing you want to remember is you work backwards. So it helps to sort of know the path and then work back from there. We know we're going to have to hit the ball down and then in. So the only wall in this case is the bottom, and we're going to reflect that hole over that line that represents this wall. So I'm going to call this wall X. All right, we're going to reflect H over X. And to do that, one way you could do that is with a protractor. So in order to make that easier to see, I'm going to turn our page a little bit here and line up a protractor. Now, remember the line of reflection, that's this guy right here. You want that to be in line with sort of like this target or pointing towards 90 on your protractor. And in addition to that, we want to make sure that you can see H somehow and measure its distance from the center. So 5 millimeters sort of represents the center in this case. Excuse that bell. And if you look here, it looks like you are 1, 2, 3, and you know, it's a big picture. So I would maybe argue it's like 3.2 millimeters to the left or 3.1. So keeping that lined up, I would count 1, 2, 3-ish, like kind of right about there. And again, this is such a big hole that if you pick sort of like one point on it, that'll help you measure this out. So I'm just gonna kind of pick around there. And if I turn this back and aim in that general direction right there, this we'll call H prime. That's the name of the reflected hole. And if I have done this accurately, I should be able to draw from G, the golf ball, to H, the hole, or H prime rather. And now some people have been drawing from here to the hole. What you really want to do is imagine this is real life. You hit the ball, it hits this wall. Well, it has to bounce towards the hole then. It's not going to go through the wall, and that's why the reflection helps you line that up. Because now you can see what would have happened if there was no wall. It would have kept going, but because the wall's here, it bounces back out at that angle that it came in at, and you now have your path. So what we've talked about in class is how do I label this? I would put arrows on here to indicate that you are hitting in that direction. If you want to use notation to describe the reflection, that's why I called this wall X. You technically reflected H over X and got H prime. So your notation would be R for reflection. Your subscript is X, that's the wall you're reflecting over. I reflected H and I got H prime. That would be the reflection notation for this. Other things we sometimes ask is to describe in words the path. So this is telling me how you reflected. If you have to tell me the path, you could say something like hit G toward H prime where the path intersects X, draw from there to H. If you want to get more specific, if you want to give this point a name like point, I don't know, T, you could say hit G toward H prime where the path intersects X, which is at the point T, draw from there to H. So lots of different ways you could do this. This is the description of the path. If you need to describe the reflection process, that's more the notation. And again, it depends what you're asked. Some questions will say, provide your reflection notation. So this was enough. If it said, tell me the path or explain how you would like actually go mini golfing here, well, you're gonna tell me how you would do that. You're gonna reflect it, I'm gonna aim towards that, it's gonna hit the wall and bounce in. So there you have it. That's using your protractor to do a reflection question.